The plan has been so far to make the deployments of the gateway on testnet this week, though there were still some fixes we need to work on. So we need to finalize the changes for the release, get the review from the contractor we have for security reuse. But yeah, I think there will be still some discussion needed about the readiness of the gateway when we push it to the public. And yeah, I think there is still some question if we shouldn't wait for the gateway deployment for V21. I think we should still move forward with deploying the contract. We have a call with the rest of the team tomorrow, but yeah, I think we should still deploy contracts and just don't push to the public. But in any case, is there something that was blocking Stefan on by the way, I didn't put the right here. Yeah, is there anything there's need to be discussed regarding the V20 branch specifically?
No blockers.
Can you please increase the size of GitHub? Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So let's follow up sport chat tomorrow morning. I think I will check with Andy if he can have a look. Yeah, basically, for sure, I think we should push too much to the gateway to public. Can share the documents, share on Slack, and yeah, promote it once we make the interface more stable with V21. Anything you want to bring on smart contracts? Also, points regarding the on-call interface, but it's more for the end of the call.
Yeah, I wanted to
Yeah,
ask.
there is one.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, please go. No, go ahead, please.
Yeah, just a question about contract addresses. So since we're finalizing a branch from which we will be publishing a stable version of protocol contracts, I was wondering if we should be adding contract addresses there.
The new contract gateway.
Well, yeah, there's a PRA created with an updated script that generates contract addresses. Maybe we should also. I think you reviewed it already.
Backport is one.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, that makes sense, I think.
And once the contracts are actually deployed, we're going to run it again and release like a patch version or like a minor version because we can't do it right now, right? The contracts haven't been deployed yet.
I mean, we can still deploy the contracts before doing the release.
Oh, that would be better for sure.
Yeah, we just need like yeah. In fact, this branch is reference like to tells us what we using connected to the node, but we don't need a release runner because we already use some commit hash in the node. It's more for the next version. For next version, we're gonna make V21 and we'll make proper release that proper tag that we use for the proper dependency. But this one, I mean, yeah, we can make the release after we deploy contract. Yeah, you want to say something, Stefan?
Yeah, there is one more thing we need to do. There's a request to check reentrancy on the execute function. If you guys know you're on that thread, I need to add issue for that, but I think that
Yeah,
one also needs to be backported.
it was okay. I mean, there's been no PR so far of it.
Yeah, not yet, not yet.
Uh, all right. And this one, so yeah, we have everything outside of this.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
just saw your comment.
the reentrancy, we can
Mhm.
upgrade the contract and it doesn't break the interface. We would still do it after, like, if people don't use the current version of the gateway, it doesn't matter, isn't it? Or do you have really security issue from that?
No, I thought it was more convenient, so they don't need to change gateway on their own to kind of have it in the code base. But apart from that, I think it can wait. It should be simple changes. Just need to verify if it's okay to remove the verifier, basically. And also would be nice to remove the modifier and get a review from the contractor to double check if it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Once we have everything ready for between one, can do a list of the issues to be reviewed. Cool. Yeah, it's on integration. You still work on the withdrawal, the gas consideration, any update, Dimitri?
Yep. So right now I'm almost finished inbound gas optimization part. So basically, I figured a way to have a constant for each method that indicates like the gas usage of this method, and then we multiply this value by like real on-chain gas price. So I'm gonna hard code all method gas usage based on test cases. This is like an official way of how things should be done based on documentation. And then I'm also gonna open a PR today regarding withdrawals optimization because I figured a way to use less gas and have a simpler structure for outbound methods. I think like the only open question right now is like what should we do if uh, the recipient on withdrawal does not exist, because like in turn you need to deploy a smart contract. A smart contract is like basically your wallet. What do we want to do with wallets that are not on chain yet? Like, do we want to somehow have a preemptive check and like fail the withdrawal on Zeta client part? Do we want to fail the transaction on chain? Like we need to figure a way. Because I recall that when Rue said last Friday something regarding Solana withdrawals for not existent addresses. Like, we need to pick a strategy for this.
Mm-hmm. So Anna, it's simple because in the smart contract code we can create the recipient if it doesn't exist. It was for SPL token. So
Okay.
yeah, it's much like that. In turn, if it's more complicated, if it's really the user we need to create the account, I think the assumption we can have is that the user need to create the account themselves. I don't know exactly know all the details, but I think we can just make the transaction revert basically. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, I don't think we need
And
to make things
okay.
complicated.
Yeah, and the second open question that I have is that like there is no concept of gas limit, right? So when we do withdrawal, we have some gas usage, and right now I like hard coded this ceiling for this usage, like let's say 2,000 gas units for withdrawal, but like who pays for this gas? Like, do we subtract this on Zeta client part? And like when the TSS signs withdrawal of let's say 10 ton, do we need to send 10 ton in smart contract to the recipient, or do we want to subtract gas usage and other fees? Because in my implementation, if TSS signs withdrawal of 10 ton, the recipient is going to receive exactly 10 ton, and the gas expenses are going to be subtracted from gateway's address.
You told me there is no loops in ton.
No, there are like 4 loop or while loop, but we do not use any of them. Like our our code paths are pretty deterministic, and we don't have much branching nor loops.
No, but I'm thinking in the future if like we allow calling smart contracts. Because if to me it's weird, like if there should be like some custom like otherwise it just means if you call the wrong methods, you can just be you can just have your entire wallet depleted if you can't provide any limits. Seems weird to me. Unless it's like Bitcoin where it truly depends. Like this Bitcoin is the size of your transaction. Like you can't call the wrong contract that would completely deplete your wallet. It's still unclear a bit to me.
It doesn't matter who we call on the recipient part, regardless of whether it's like some DEX or just like a wallet, it's going to be the same gas usage. So yeah, we can follow up on this.
Yeah, I think it's deterministic anyway for the current what we have currently with Gateway for the withdrawal.
Yes, for withdrawals, definitely. It might be not deterministic if we want to support arbitrary message calling for other contracts, because it would cost more than usually, because like the cost would be proportional to the amount of the data that we want to send. And right now we just simply send coins. It's pretty cheap and deterministic. I don't see any issues with this. Like the only question is like whether we want to send the requested value or requested value subtracting gas fees.
If you withdraw, like you pay, you don't like subtract the token you send. You pay the gas outside of the withdrawal. What you withdraw is what you get on the address from the connect. It's for the rewards that you reuse the amount in the cross chain transaction.
Like let me rephrase the question. Like imagine we have Ethereum gateway, right? And I want to withdraw one ETH. As the recipient, am I gonna receive one ETH or like one ETH minus gas fees for this withdrawal?
You will get one ETH.
Okay. Cool. Then yeah, we don't need to change the logic. I implemented it this very way when we take all the cost for the outbound transaction.
Okay. And I think you mentioned about the gas price. So are there any change on the notes on that side? Like I know we vote like some values. There's the gas tip. We have the gas price. Is there any change on the logic that would be needed for ton?
I don't think so. I think we can reuse the same boat gas price message that we have right now. The only tricky part here might be is like how to plug this gas limit logic into withdrawals, because in Ton there's like no such things as like gas limit, and there's no such things as like max allowed gas per transaction. There is some like limit, but yeah, that can be increased. But in most cases, it's up to like developers to decide who's gonna pay for what, and yeah, we just I think we can do some approximation for Tom, just like come up with some numbers that would make sense in order to keep the implementation consistent with other chains. Yeah, we can follow up on this. I think tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Any updates on migration tests? Tell me. Base here.
Yeah, I haven't started looking at the migration test. You're talking about the recent failures, right?
Sorry, I meant simulation tests.
Okay. Yeah, so I have a PR which initializes the simulation tests the for the node repo, and we have like the basic tests. Once this gets merged in, like after it's resolved the comments and everything, we can start adding more tests which are like more relevant to us. Things around like cross-chain transactions and stuff like that. Yeah, so I have like two tasks to start with. First one is like to initialize the test, and the second one to add it to the CI. I feel like we should have like a separate runner for this because some of the tests take quite a while to run. So I don't think we need to run it like on every PR. It can be like a nightly thing or something like that.
No, I think we should have it on every peer, but I mean, normally you can parameterize, like you can have very lightweight simulation tests where you just run like few blocks, like 100 blocks once. You just test if there is no issue with the consensus value or stuff like that. I think we should have for sure something every part of the general CI. Like you can do benchmarking as well. I think that would it would be more like nightly stuff. But some basic check I think would be great to have.
So you're breaking off, but I guess what you're saying is like to have something in every PR.
I think
So
there is some issue with your mic.
yeah, I mean we can modify it to have like a smaller simulation with like less blocks and keep the same number of like the same block size, so that it runs faster and have that run at every PR, and then the nightly runs like a bigger test which has larger number of blocks. Yeah, that should be possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I can hear you a bit, but there are still some issues with your mic. Yeah, and this one, the initialization to me looks good, but yeah, I just have some comments. I saw there were some changes in app.go. I think it would be great if we can add some comments. Why are those changed? Is it like using
Yeah, I saw
parameter
your
for?
comment. I tried to answer that in the PR itself.
Sorry, yeah, I can't hear you.
So, I mean, I can answer that in PR itself. Like I can reply to your comment.
Okay. All right. Good on that. And finally, yeah, some discussion I want to probably have is regarding this peer that has been open for quite a while. It's been reviewed and approved, but yeah, should we use on-call instead of on-cross-chain call when you have a gateway VM pulling that chain? Yeah, so far the idea was that if you would use gateway, like would be backward compatible, where you could use the gateway to call the existing inertial app that's are currently already deployed. But if you change, basically, you basically the inertial app developed with on-chain call right now. If you change with on-call, basically you break the compatibility. The gateway, I mean, the V2 architecture is still backward compatible, so you could still make the previous interactions, like for example, calling deposits on the S320 custody to use the V1 logic and use the on-chain call. But yeah, I was just wondering because maybe it's not that a problem if we break like the compatibility. And ideally, I would prefer using on-call, so I mean, it looks better and it's consistent with what we have on the connected chains. But yeah, I want to raise discussion here if maybe we can settle on that.
So I don't have a strong preference, but I do prefer for this to be consistent. So if we keep on cross-chain call, then we would have to use on cross-chain call on EVM as well.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense to have on call on one side and on cross-chain call on the other.
Yeah. Ideally, yeah, I would prefer moving to on-call. It looks better. Like we have on revert. I don't think we're gonna call it on cross-chain revert. So yeah, I would prefer using on-call. And on smart contract, it's very small change to make. But yeah, it's more like then do we like yeah, do we tolerate having this break? Like should see with the current application if it would create an issue.
Yeah, because honestly, we're introducing so many changes that this, like, if we're going to be changing this, we should do it now and not in the future. So this is like the last time we can, like, honestly
Yeah.
change this thing. So let's do it now.
Yeah, I agree on that.
I'm much more concerned about um, people building on V20 versus this. Like, I mean, it's perfectly fine to build on V20 with the first iteration of the gateway, but I think for like most apps, they still need the functionality that's going to ship in V21. So
I think we can share the dog. I don't think we should say like the gateway should not be used at all. It's just there. You can make the experimentation with it, and you see all the different consideration.
okay,
Yeah. Do you think we can move forwards, make this change, or are there anything else we should check before?
before
Because
V21?
I would say before renaming like should check with some developer or something like that. Otherwise, I would say let's go forward.
I don't think there are any risks of using this because even if, let's say there is a contract on it built on Ethereum and it already has an on-call function, and this contract is migrated to ZetaChain, the signature is going to be different anyways, right? They're not, so it's just going to be like a separate function. So I think there are
Yeah,
no.
I was meaning more for backward compatible, like the fact that we change that you will not be able to use the previous applications with the gateway.
Yeah, well, we can't tell apps to migrate on V. I mean, yeah, we kind of can. Like as long as they don't require this additional functionality from V21, we can actually encourage developers to migrate to the gateway, I guess, to the initial version of gateway, and then they will have to do it again for V21.
Okay.
I think we should do it,
Well,
and developers should
mhm,
upgrade their contracts. Like
okay,
the API has changed. I mean, most
okay.
contracts should be built in a way
Yeah.
that are upgradable.
Hmm. In the worst case scenario, we can upgrade the gateway, push back even after it has deployed on cross-chain call. There's something we can change without changing the interface. I mean, without requiring another upgrade. So, okay, let's merge this peer. Let's put on V20 as well. Small one, I think.
But I don't think we can backport this to V20, right? Because it requires protocol changes, or no?
I don't think so because the unless if the name of the variable break the change. If we
Yeah,
rename the
I don't.
Z, the on-call should be fine because it's internal. It's not. You don't have the TSS directly using this.
Yeah, I was referring to message context mostly. I don't know if.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I need.
I don't think. Yeah, message one is not that important. It's just the name of the variable, the name of the
Mhm.
structure, but the content is the same.
Yeah,
Uh,
okay.
we can backport just the on-call change.
Question here: if we do backport, then TSS will like if you were calling universal apps from TSS and ERC20 custody directly, it's still going to go to on cross-chain call, not on call, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so there's going to be a transitionary period where the existing stuff is going to work, but the
Yeah.
gateway is just, okay, that's good.
You can make the same interaction as you had before, and it's a route to the V1 logic.
Okay, cool. And we will like as soon as we finalize the arbitrary authenticated call interface and it's going to be available on localnet, we can encourage developers to migrate from TSS ERC20 custody to the
Yeah.
gateway V21 version that is going
Yeah.
to be deployed, not the V20, but the V21 version, the hopefully
Yeah.
stable interface. Cool.
Yeah. I think at some point maybe between two we can consider starting removing the support for V1, or maybe later, but it will stay like backup playable.
I would still like us to have this conversation, maybe not right now, but like at some point about arbitrary authenticated calls, like how the interface should look. Or have we decided on having the is arbitrary property?
Yeah, right now we kept the same. We wanted to current version to be reviewed with the contractor we have for security reviews.
Okay.
Uh, yeah,
it's
on my side, yeah.
yeah, I mean it's not a deal breaker. It's just preferences really. Like both options work fine. So not a big deal if we keep it the way it is.
Yeah, I would prefer and see too many reason to change. Yeah, that's it for the agenda.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that's it. Thanks everyone.
Cool. Thank you. Goodbye.